The opinions expressed by the host and guest on this program are solely their own and do not represent the views or opinions of Blind United. We strive to provide diverse perspectives and discussions on our platform, but the opinions expressed should be understood as personal viewpoints and not reflective of Blind United as an organization.
It's time. It's time for
coffee time.
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 And here is your coffee time crew.
Well, good Wednesday morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee Time with Blind United. So, got my regular crew with me this morning. I got Cal and Pedro. So, good morning, y'all.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning.
Anyway, for our interest groups for today, we got two of them for you. You hear us talking about our crafting showcase that we're doing coming up. So that group is actually taking place tonight. The crafting, knitting, crocheting, jewelry making, crafting, whatever. They'll be doing their thing today at 5 p.m. Pacific time. And then right after that, we got our getting the most out of your Meta Ray-Bans at 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific time. So don't forget to come and hang out with us and join in on that. If you'd like to do some crafting, come on out and hang out with those ladies. And then if you got your pair of them Meta Ray-Bans and want to figure out how to get the most out of them, just be there at 6 o'clock and we'll get into that. So anyway, we got some very, very, very interesting articles today. It's all about refugees and, being, how can I say, compassionate to people. It's about 3 different areas of where people are refugees and stuff. And it also adds in there, what a lot of people don't think about when they think about refugees, right? I mean, whenever you got a large group of people, you can almost be guaranteed that there's going to be some disabled folks within that group of people, So, I mean, it also, puts a highlight on that as well. So, but anyway, let's jump into the first one and we'll talk about this on the other side.
Today on Coffee Time, Gaza in crisis, humanitarian needs amid rubble and resilience. In the wake of ongoing conflict, the Gaza Strip is enduring one of the worst humanitarian crises in its recent history. As the world watches images of devastated neighborhoods and injured civilians, it becomes clear that this is not just a political conflict. It is a human catastrophe affecting over 2 million people, many of whom are children. Today on Coffee Time, we're turning our attention to the urgent and often overlooked humanitarian needs in Gaza and the mounting global calls for action. The crisis escalated sharply following the outbreak of war between Israel and Hamas, with intense bombardments and ground incursions resulting in widespread destruction across Gaza. Entire neighborhoods have been reduced to rubble. Hospitals, already under-resourced before the conflict, are overwhelmed, running out of fuel, medicine, and even basic supplies like clean water. According to the United Nations, more than 1.7 million people, over 75% of Gaza's population, have been displaced. The collapse of basic infrastructure. Electricity in Gaza is nearly non-existent, with only a few hours of power a day, if any. Water purification systems have collapsed, leading to a sharp increase in waterborne illnesses. Sanitation services are at a standstill, putting the health of residents at even greater risk. Hospitals and emergency medical services are operating under siege-like conditions, many having been directly targeted or surrounded during fighting. The health system is buckling under the strain. Medical professionals are working without pay, sleep, or sufficient supplies, often performing surgery without anesthesia. The World Health Organization has called the conditions unimaginable and utterly catastrophic. For many, Access to urgent medical care means navigating dangerous roads or waiting at Israeli checkpoints that may or may not allow them through. The impact on children and people with disabilities. Children in Gaza have been among the hardest hit. Schools have been destroyed or repurposed as shelters for the displaced, and many children are experiencing severe trauma. Aid organizations warn of a lost generation if the conflict continues and educational, psychological, and nutritional needs aren't met. People with disabilities face an especially dire situation. With mobility challenges, communication barriers, and disrupted access to assistive devices or caregivers, they are often the last to receive help, if they receive any at all. Many shelters are not accessible. Emergency alerts, when issued, are frequently not adapted for the blind or deaf. In some cases, visually impaired residents have had to rely entirely on family members to navigate bombing raids or evacuate under fire. Barriers to aid and international response. Despite repeated calls for humanitarian corridors, aid shipments into Gaza remain severely restricted. Fuel shortages have paralyzed aid distribution, while border closures and security blockades further choke off the lifelines for civilians. International NGOs, including the Red Cross and Doctors Without Borders, have called for immediate and sustained ceasefires to allow aid workers safe entry. The global community has responded with outrage and concern, but efforts at the UN to pass binding resolutions for ceasefire and aid access have repeatedly been blocked or diluted due to political divisions among Security Council members. In the meantime, grassroots efforts and independent charities are stepping in to fill the gap, organizing food drives, medical supply deliveries, and donation campaigns. What you can do. If you're wondering how to help, several organizations are actively working on the ground, including UNRWA, United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees, International Rescue Committee, Medical Aid for Palestinians MAP, Doctors Without Borders MSF. These organizations accept monetary donations, and some accept material contributions, though logistical hurdles are steep. Sharing verified information and amplifying the voices of those affected also helps keep public attention on the crisis and pressure on decision-makers. A call for humanity. Today's crisis in Gaza is a painful reminder that beyond politics and policy debates, there are real people trying to survive in impossible conditions. Blind or sighted, disabled or able-bodied, child or elder, each life matters. The need for compassion, accessibility, and peace is not theoretical, it is urgent. As we continue to spotlight issues impacting marginalized communities, including the blind and visually impaired, let's not forget that conflict makes those communities even more vulnerable. Access to safety, healthcare, and dignity must not be conditional on politics. Now back to the Coffee Time crew for their thoughts.
Wow. I mean, what can you say, man? I mean, this thing going on over here, I mean, number one, it has really nothing to do with the Palestinian people themselves. I mean, it's all about Hamas. Like you said, you hear in it, it said, that Israel and Hamas went to war. And the crazy part about it again is also that our president right now is actually over there hanging out with the folks that sponsor Hamas. So I mean, whose side are you on? I mean, you say you're not going in there to help the Palestinians because of, our relationship with Israel, but now you over there hanging out with the sponsors of Hamas. I mean, I don't know. Matter of fact, them same sponsors are the folks that are trying to give him this $400 million airplane. So, I mean, I don't know. It's just a whole lot of conflict and stuff going on here, man. And these people are being wiped out. They're just, I mean, and now they're being denied just, everyday necessities for life. It's really, really sad. But, I mean, this is a part of a longer story that we're going to lay out for you today. So, anyway, go ahead with your piece on these folks over in Palestine, Carol.
It just it just makes me think of all the things that we as Americans just take for granted. Running water. I heard where they're saying they're doing surgery without anesthesia. It's like, oh my God, kids and elderly, just people are just displaced. The hurt. And like you say, the administration right now, why? That's just my question. I'm just going to keep it short and sweet. It's just why are you even there's no words for it when there are people that are just suffering. It's just really sad, really sad.
Right. I mean, you're fighting over 27 square miles of land. That's basically what it boils down to, And again, but you're willing to wipe out a whole, community of people. Like I say, over 1 point something million people have been displaced in this,
Mm.
So it's just out of control. So where you at with this, Pedro?
Yeah, it is a sad situation. And once again, disclaimer, this is our opinions,
Exactly.
but I do
Yes.
support the Palestine people, especially those children and women that are getting misplaced, even the innocent men that are getting displaced that are not from Hamas. We do not support Hamas. Even those protesters in college campuses, those young Americans, they're protesting the genocide of kids and women and innocent people. They're not agreeing with Hamas. Let's just make that completely clear. So now let's be objectively clear. Um, this we seen activity like this across our history. um you know and what's happening over there with the videos you see online and the, oh my God, the horrific videos you see online, people on fire, on getting bombed on a tent hospital, children's getting arms amputated with no anesthesia or no painkillers at all. It's a catastrophe happening, and not able to sometimes even get aid because they don't want to insert themselves. They don't want to let aid come in. Um, and I have critiques on this administration, but as well as the last administration. So we could start with Biden and how he was like, oh, trying to be strong, saying, "Well, I'm talking to them and I'm telling them not to do that, but what can I do?" When they had all the power on holding this back. Biden administration, meaning our our people in power. We're the ones that provide help to Israel. We're the ones that provide weapons to Israel. So we do have a say so. You know what I mean? And now with this new administration, it's like, yes, go ahead, finish the job. That's the quote. I remember. Go ahead. They need to quote finish the job, unquote. Um, you know what he said. This could end up being quote prime real estate land next to the beach, unquote. You know, so
Well, just to be
something.
clear, that was done. That was Trump, not Biden, that said
Yeah,
this.
that was Trump, of course. Yes, yes. That's why I said moving on to the next administration,
So
and they keep going forward. And sometimes, we do have a lot of money in our politics. One of the biggest lobbyists, biggest PACs is the Israel PAC, is the A PAC. You know.
well, I mean, and that's the whole thing. I mean, everybody's got this thing about Israel this, Israel that, But again, what about those people, the Palestinian people? Remember, Palestinians were the ones that occupied Israel before the Israeli people actually got it back. And they were all forced into this one little area they want to call the Gaza Strip. So, I mean, that's just like taking land from the Indians and then telling them, okay, well, that last little piece of land that we gave you, you can't even have that no more. You
Mm.
know, and they've done that as well. I mean, I seen a thing the other day where they found gold I'm sorry, at Georgia, right? And the Sioux Indian were, that was their land, And then Georgia was trying to figure out what to do because the Indians wouldn't give up the land. So Georgia decided they were going to hold a lottery for the land, and then told the Indians they couldn't participate in the lottery.
That's
So they just,
crazy.
again, this is just stuff they do. Uh, uh, like quick, Katie Taylor made a comment about immigrants need a path to secure their safety and all that stuff. Yes, they do. But again, that's a different issue when we talk about immigrants versus these, refugees, right? So, I mean, this stuff is just getting really, really out of control. We got a couple more articles, and again, they're all speaking about refugees. So, not to, not to discount, immigrants and their path trying to get here and all that kind of stuff. But again, this is just outrageous, man. I mean, this is actually being allowed to, commit genocide on these people. And the world is just standing back looking like it ain't no big thing,
Hmm.
and that's where I see the problem is. I mean, where's, the humanity for a fellow mankind on the planet? You know what I'm saying? Where's our compassion for these women and children and the innocent folks that have nothing to do with Hamas? I mean, these are just simple farmers and workers, blue collar workers as we would call them over here, right? And they're just trying to live their life over there, and you got these terrorist groups that are being sponsored by other countries that are infiltrating this area because they want to do something. They want to drive, per se, the Jews back out of the Middle East. Okay, so they're looking at Palestine as their little foothold to attack Israel, and again, it ain't got nothing to do with the Palestinian people. Nothing to do with Palestinian people at all. So again, but you're going to wipe out the Palestinian people, and I mean, there's no proof that you've actually killed anybody from Hamas.
Mm.
That's the crazy part. I mean, you don't hear anything about, however many Hamas people, terrorists were, killed along with all of these innocent Palestinians. I mean, it's ridiculous, man. And again, I know it's hard to sort people out in the middle of a war, but again, it didn't have to go this way. You know what I'm saying? You could let these people have that little piece of land. They could have became their own little small country, state, whatever we want to call it, And I mean, bottom line, it could have been peace in that little corner of the Middle East. You know what I'm saying? These people could have went on and kept doing what they were doing, farming, raising their families, doing what they do, man. But now their whole lives are in turmoil. I mean, like I said, these kids are being killed off and maimed and all this other kind of stuff. Like the article said, we're going to lose a whole generation of kids in there. You know
And
what I'm
that's
saying?
sad. That's so sad.
Between actually losing the kids or dealing with the post-traumatic stress of this war is going to affect them for the rest of their life. And that right there is what I'm saying is it's unacceptable. It really is. It's truly unacceptable. I don't know. Maybe he might come after us now because we're speaking out about it. I mean, where's he going to deport me to? I don't know. But he's also trying to do away with due process so that he can deport people that he don't like. Period. I mean, now he can grab me up or whatever. As a born and bred American citizen, I don't know. Maybe he's gonna send me to El Salvador. I don't know, but we'll deal with that when we cross that bridge. But again, this is just one issue in a long line of issues when we're talking about Palestine. So anyway, we're going to jump into these promos, and then we're going to get into this next article about a different set of refugees. Did you know Blind United offers free training in assistive technology? We call them interest groups. We offer training in JAWS, NVDA, iPhone, iPad, as well as Meta Ray-Bans. We also have groups like support group, cooking groups, and crafting groups. There are also groups for entertainment like movie night and RS game night. For more information about all the interest groups that we offer, just email us at info@blindunited.org or visit our Facebook group, Blind United Interest Group. We would love to have you be part of the Blind United crew.
June 21st, got a vibe so right. Come through the service and a day tonight. It's Blind United, yeah, we're bringing the flair. Crafts and colors floating in the air. Jewels that shine, lotion so smooth. Mosaics, baked goods, handmade grooves. You don't wanna miss this artful affair. Blind made magic, love everywhere. Jewel that shine, lotion so smooth. Mosaics, baked goods, handmade grooves. You don't wanna miss this artful affair. Blind made magic, love everywhere. You want a table, just 25 bucks. Bring your vision, your craft, your luck. Vendors welcome, come show your pride. Let your work shine, let your soul ride. It's more than a fair, it's a moment to share with a community that truly cares. So email us now, don't miss your spot. info@blindunited.org, we got a lot. Jewels that shine, lotion so smooth. Mosaics, baked goods, handmade grooves. You don't wanna miss this artful affair. Blind made magic, love everywhere. So come vibe with the crew, enjoy the day. Blind United has got it set our way. June 21st, bring your smile and light. Art and love, yeah, we'll shine so bright.
All right. Well, again, another quick note on the crafting fair. Like I said, number one, the sponsoring interest group is doing that thing tonight at 5 p.m. But if you're interested in participating in the crafting fair, we've put in a deadline of June the 10th to reserve your table, simply because we need enough time to make sure we got enough tables and all that kind of good stuff to support everybody that is coming. So again, June 10th, want to be a part of this, you got till June 10th to get you a table. If you just want to come participate, it's jumping off on June 21st. So anyway, this next one is about a folks. I don't know if anybody really remembers or paid attention. When Trump left office, we pretty much ended the war in Afghanistan. And then he had put this thing in place to where we had to be out of there. He made a deal with the Taliban for us to be out of there by a certain date. Well, I don't know if he was assuming that he would still be in office at that time or not, but he signed on the dotted line for that date and dumped all that in Biden's lap. So everybody remembers that catastrophe, right? But anyway, let's listen to this article and hear about what happened to those refugees.
Today on Coffee Time, caught between promise and uncertainty, the Afghan refugees stranded in Qatar. In the scorching heat of Qatar's desert climate, over 1,200 Afghan refugees remain stuck in limbo at a U.S.-run facility, victims of shifting immigration policies and global inaction. These individuals, many of whom served alongside U.S. forces or aided NATO efforts during America's 20-year presence in Afghanistan, were promised resettlement in the United States. Yet now, years after their emergency evacuation, they face a painful truth. They have no country to call home. This humanitarian bottleneck is not the result of war, but of bureaucratic paralysis. After the Taliban's takeover in 2021, the U.S. initiated large-scale evacuations, funneling thousands of vulnerable Afghans to temporary processing sites in Qatar and other host countries. These sites were designed as brief way stations en route to a new life in the United States. But in 2025, with the U.S. refugee resettlement program suspended under President Trump's administration, the pipeline has been effectively closed. Many of these evacuees are now entering their third year in detention-like conditions without a permanent solution, legal residency, or the ability to return to Afghanistan due to fear of persecution. Qatar has provided shelter and partnered with the U.S. to support temporary housing, but its role is limited by international agreements and the sovereign decisions of other nations. Despite the policy freeze, Qatar continues to play a major role in humanitarian relief. The country has contributed over $382 million to the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR, and has developed long-term initiatives like the Qatar Scholarship for Afghans project, QSAP, which allows displaced Afghan students to continue their higher education in the U.S. These programs have been a lifeline for some, but they barely scratch the surface of the crisis faced by the thousands still awaiting resettlement. Adding to the uncertainty, a U.S. court recently ruled that around 12,000 already vetted Afghan refugees should be admitted, but the timeline and implementation of this decision remain unknown. Meanwhile, the Department of Homeland Security has announced it will end temporary protected status, TPS, for Afghan nationals by late 2025, placing an estimated 9,000 Afghans in the U.S. at risk of deportation. The result? Afghan allies are once again being left behind, not in Kabul, but now in Qatar, Pakistan, Albania, and other temporary host nations. Many advocates argue this represents a breach of trust and a betrayal of the promises made during the U.S. withdrawal. The Afghan refugee crisis is a powerful reminder that foreign policy decisions carry deep human consequences. For the blind and visually impaired community, it's also a story that illustrates the importance of accessible, inclusive refugee support, particularly for individuals with disabilities who are often overlooked in resettlement discussions. Refugees with disabilities may have no access to adaptive devices, interpreters, or basic medical accommodations while in limbo. Today, we invite you to reflect on how global systems treat those displaced by conflict, especially the most vulnerable among them. How can we hold our governments accountable to the promises they make to allies? What should international partners like Qatar and advocates around the world be doing to ensure these refugees find not only safety, but dignity and independence? We want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on the current U.S. immigration freeze and its impact on Afghan refugees? Do you think the international community is doing enough? Now back to the Coffee Time crew for their thoughts.
Well, again, this is really a sad thing. I mean, number one, all of these people ended up getting sent to these refugee camps, in other countries because of the move that Trump made when he left office. And then, Biden evidently was following through with the promise and, brought over 9,000 of them over here, right? And then as soon as Trump takes office again, what does he do? He suspends that program. So he's not bringing any more over. And now he's also getting ready to suspend the ones the 9,000 that were brought over here. He's getting ready to suspend their visas. And now he's going to send them back. Where are they going to go? They don't have a country anymore. They betrayed Afghanistan by working with the Americans. I mean, they stood there. They worked alongside with the Americans as interpreters, as guides, all this kind of other stuff to help the Americans make what advancements they did make. I mean, of course, nobody's ever won a war against the Afghanistan people, but again, these people went in there and they put their life on the line. They turned against the Taliban, who was, running Afghanistan. And now, look at what we're doing to them, man. What kind of, opinion people going to have of America? We done made these promises. Man, you come work with us, help us out with this. and we're gonna make you American citizens. And now you just leaving all of these people hanging, man. And the sad part about it is that the ones that we're speaking of right here, the over 1,200 that are in Qatar, again, Qatar is the sponsor of Hamas as well as Taliban, right? And they're terrorist sponsor state. But he's over here hanging out with them folks right now, and he is doing everything he possibly can to accept a $400 million gift in the form of a flying palace from these people. Okay, how about you load up some of them refugees in that golden plane and just send it on over here? You know what I'm saying? That's the right thing to do. But no, he's doing what he wants to do, man, and this is just truly, truly sad. And America's, I mean, again, you're just putting it right out there that America's word ain't worth squat by doing what you're doing right now. So, anyway, again, I will say it as many times as we got to say it. This is our opinion. You know what I'm saying? I'm not really going into the political thing of this. I mean, he's already in office. I'm just showing what his actions are doing. That's all we're trying to highlight right here. We're just trying to show the hypocrisy in his policies. You know what I'm saying? So, again, that's my take on it. So, go ahead, Carol.
This is my opinion, but it's like shame on us. As Americans, I just couldn't imagine my life just being in limbo, not having a home to go to, away from my friends, family. And then I'm expecting to stay here because I was told I could and now I can't. And then there's just so many other people that are just stuck. They have absolutely nowhere to go. I just couldn't imagine my life like that. We're supposed to be the land of the free, and everyone wants to come here, but it's like I'm ashamed as an American, sometimes because of just the things that we do to other people. These are people, not animals. People are just about kill themselves in a vehicle trying to miss a dog or a cat. But here it is, people that are suffering, and there's no compassion at all that's shown towards them based on what they've done to help us. And we should be ashamed of that, really.
I agree. I agree. I mean, again, we're supposed to be called the land of the free, home of the brave. And the reason they call us the home of the brave is because we stand up against tyranny. We stand up against these folks. We're supposed to be standing up against the Taliban and Hamas and all of these other kind of things, these terrorist organizations. We're supposed to be standing up against, the oligarchy of the world, the dictators of the world. That's why they call us the home of the brave, right? But again, in this administration is just, like he just wants to be one of them, I guess. I don't know. So anyway, come on, Pedro.
Yeah, it is truly sad what is happening with the misplaced people. Also with the people that we considered friends over there. They gave us information we needed. They helped our soldiers that are now veterans from that war. They helped them out. We brought them over here for safety. Now we're just kicking them back and putting them back in danger. Didn't the Taliban took over those areas already? So we putting them back in danger. Also, um, you know, it, it is a little funny that, to make a little light of the thing, is Republicans with this war got started under. And it's Republicans giving in the boot, giving in the cold shoulder, and doing all this bad mouthing about them. And a second thing of what I believe is what is happening with the refugees and what we're doing in the Middle East and other places in the world is we're talking about terrorists wanting to attack us, but the way that things are going right now, we're probably breeding the next generation of terrorists because of what we're doing over there to children's parents not being there. Imagine a young kid, parents are gone. He watched his parents probably blow up or killed. Now he's upset. He doesn't have a parent that could guide him, you know? Or imagine being a kid and your hand, now you're disabled or being blind now. Like who's gonna look out for you now too if you have the opposition has so much money, the more power has the media view, has the narrative, sometimes it's kind of sad. And this is when we have to speak up, we have to make calls, we have to you know make it known because and in the past history we've seen how it turned out in the 1940s.
I mean, again, like you said, we're creating another generation of terrorists for another reason. I just put another little twist on it. These kids are growing up; they watch their parents. You know what I'm saying? Join forces with the Americans, right? With a promise of
Correct.
a better life in America, right? When it's all said and done, and now they're being abandoned. You know what I'm saying? And their parents are, if they haven't been killed, now they're dealing with these unlivable situations. You know what I'm saying? It's like living in a concentration camp over there. No matter where they at, it's like them in a concentration camp. So yeah, you're creating even more hatred for our country by these actions. And
Yeah.
again, that's just not acceptable, man. I mean, it's not. We've always supposedly been, a country that took pride in our word and in our defense of the other folks and so on and so forth. But
Hmm.
man, it's all going by the wayside. It's
Yeah.
all going by the wayside.
And
Yeah.
it's like here, your word is your bond. If when you say something, you're expected to come through on that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. In the
Exactly.
atrocities that are happening to the Palestine people under the Israeli army, it's horrible. You hear about horrible stories about the soldiers, and man, there's a story about a soldier, a broomstick, and a prisoner. You can
Well,
imagine.
the same thing. Even when Biden was doing his best to try to get these people out of Afghanistan,
Hmm.
there was people trying to get into that fort area that the Americans had still had control of, right? That airport.
Hmm.
As people were trying to climb them walls, the Taliban was shooting them down.
Mm.
So
As
it
the
was it
people,
was really hostile.
I mean, it's really, really bad. And and then again, now we got this guy, that created that catastrophe. I mean, it was basically a booby trap. So it was indefinite. He didn't have enough time. Biden didn't have enough time to really put together a plan to get them people out of there.
Of
And
course.
Trump didn't have a plan. He left Biden with no plan.
Yes,
So he
and
had to wing it.
yes, yes, and the media when Biden pulled out, even the left media got on him for leaving this war. Everybody hated Biden, you
Yeah, but
know?
again, it was already an agreement that
Mhm.
Trump had signed with the actual leaders of Afghanistan, being the Taliban people. So anyway, again, that's just another point of a tragedy where we're leaving these poor folks hanging. Tisha says good morning, so good morning, Tisha. And then again, so now we're gonna play these last couple promos, and then I want to show you the sharp contrast in something else he did. So anyway, let's get into these promos, and we'll work on that last article.
If you'd like to know more about Blind United, you can visit our website at blindunited.org. You can email us at info@blindunited.org. You can call us at 909-846-8825. You can follow us on Instagram at Blind United Interest Groups. You can follow us on X at Blind United 22. You can watch our YouTube channel, Blind United. You could join our Facebook group, Blind United Interest Groups, or you can follow our Facebook page, Blind United. Did you know that people in third world countries do not have access to canes? The You Can Give initiative gives canes to people all over the world who cannot get canes. The You Can Give initiative not only goes to these countries and gives people canes, but they give people canes and a digital recorder that is solar powered that has instructions on how to use the cane and instructions on how to repair the cane. The You Can Give initiative is a very worthy cause, giving canes to blind people all over the world. If you have a cane that you're no longer using, or a cane that's broken or bent, you can go to youcangive.org and get a shipping label, and you can ship your cane to Jimmy in Tennessee, and he will refurbish it and give your cane to a blind person in a third world country. That website again is youcangive.org.
Jimmy asked me to give everybody a little quick update. Last time we talked to Jimmy, when we had him on, remember he was planning a trip to Ethiopia. Well, I'm happy to report that he has done that trip. And while he was there, they gave out over 126 canes to people over in Ethiopia. And so to date, they have given out over what he said is like 2,400 canes, and as well as over 10,000 of the solar talking books, solar devices. So again, Jimmy's doing a lot. You know, we talk about humanitarian, we talk about compassion. You know what I'm saying? This is a man that's living that, right? He's doing everything he can to help these people where they can't get cane, you know, making sure that they got instructions, making sure that, and he's also making sure that, you know, because a lot of these folks ain't got no electricity, you know what I'm saying? So they got these solar powered digital devices that, you know, they upload books and all that kind of stuff on, as far as, you know, well, they put the Bible on there, and they put on, you know, a lot of mobility instructions, as well as instructions on how to repair the cane if something happens to go wrong, you know. So again, Jimmy's doing a lot of good work. So anyway, this is a move that I think is going to make people, you know, really pay attention to what's going on. So look what Trump is doing with these folks coming out of South Africa.
Today on Coffee Time, white South African refugees in America, refuge or rhetoric. A closer look at the arrival of 59 Afrikaners under a new Trump-era policy. In a highly controversial and unprecedented move, 59 white South African refugees, primarily Afrikaners, arrived in the United States this week, touching down at Dulles International Airport just outside Washington, D.C. Their arrival marks the reactivation of a specific refugee channel under an executive order issued by former President Donald Trump in February 2025. These individuals were granted asylum under claims of racial persecution, reigniting a debate that has long hovered on the edge of both South African and American political discourse. The move was met with celebration from some U.S. government officials and scorn from others, bringing into question not just the motives behind the policy, but also the broader ethics of selective refugee acceptance. For the blind and visually impaired community, and indeed for every marginalized population watching, this event is not just about one group's struggle. It's about who gets seen, who gets heard, and who gets helped. A new chapter for Afrikaners. The group of 59 was greeted with American flags and a small reception led by Deputy Secretary of State Christopher Landau and Deputy Homeland Security Secretary Troy Edgar. The families, some with small children, arrived on a U.S.-funded charter flight and were told they would be relocated to various states, including Minnesota, Idaho, and Nevada. They were also informed of expectations around employment, assimilation, and participation in American civic life. This moment was framed by the Trump administration and its supporters as a humanitarian rescue, citing increasing violence against white farmers and concerns about South Africa's land redistribution policies. President Trump has repeatedly characterized the situation as a white genocide, a term widely rejected by international watchdogs and the South African government. Critics say the move is rooted in racial bias. Refugee and immigration experts quickly pointed out the stark contrast in treatment between these Afrikaners and refugees from war-torn nations in Africa, the Middle East, and Central America, who often face extreme vetting, years-long waits, or flat-out bans. Some refugee resettlement organizations, including the Episcopal Church's Migration Ministry, have publicly refused to participate in the integration of the group, stating that the policy reflects preferential treatment that undermines America's credibility as a fair and equal refuge for all. For many in the disability rights and accessibility communities, this move also hits close to home. Selective humanitarianism is not a foreign concept to people with disabilities, who often face systemic barriers to housing, healthcare, and equitable treatment, even in so-called progressive refugee and support systems. This moment invites a broader question: who gets to claim victimhood and who is believed? South Africa responds. The South African government, led by President Cyril Ramaphosa, has responded strongly to the U.S. narrative. Officials maintain that while crime and violence are ongoing challenges in South Africa, they are not targeted solely at white citizens. They argue that the Trump administration's framing ignores the country's efforts to address historical inequalities in land ownership through lawful, if controversial, reforms. The concept of white genocide is not supported by major human rights organizations or the United Nations. Nevertheless, this framing continues to gain traction in far-right circles both in the U.S. and abroad. Why this matters to us? This is not just a geopolitical issue. For Coffee Time's community of engaged listeners, many of whom are blind, visually impaired, or part of other marginalized groups, this story is a live case study in how power shapes policy. It underscores the need to advocate for fair and consistent criteria in refugee and immigration policies, where compassion isn't color-coded and access isn't politically calculated. Imagine how many blind asylum seekers are stuck in limbo because they come from regions not seen as strategically important or politically useful. How often are blind individuals, especially from developing countries, deprioritized in immigration channels due to a perceived burden rather than an opportunity to thrive? The 59 Afrikaners arriving in America may represent a genuine human story, but it is part of a broader narrative that deserves scrutiny, especially by communities who know what it means to be overlooked. We encourage you to reflect on this story and share your perspectives. Should refugee status be determined by who is in danger or by who is politically favorable? What does this policy say about how we, as a country, define persecution and prioritize compassion? Now back to the Coffee Time crew for their thoughts.
So my first question is, what in the hell is an Afrikaner? I mean, I'm sorry.
Right.
I mean, everybody that I've ever known that came from the continent of Africa have been called Africans.
That's right.
Okay. Now, I mean, they'll break it down, well, no, I'm, from Nigeria, I'm from Ethiopia, whatever, a lot of people don't recognize there's a whole bunch of countries over there. But
Kenya,
again,
Ghana.
because you're coming from that continent, you're an African.
Mm-hmm.
But now, all of a sudden, we got a group of white folks in South Africa that are not African, they're African. I mean, I don't know. So I guess because you're white, you get a different name. I mean, I don't know. Because clearly, these folks are being allowed in our country and accepted. Why? Because they are white. Okay. I mean, there's no other reason. There's no other, you know, it, I don't know how you can claim it any other way, right? I mean, again, you're not letting the Afghan people in, even though we owe them a debt of gratitude for the service they gave to our country. You're locking them out. Why? Could it possibly be the color of their skin?
Mm.
You know, same thing when we talk about these Palestinian folks. We refusing to help them. Why? Because the conservative white movement around the world again think that white folks are always right, so they're going to be able to do what the Israelis want to do and go against these non-white folks. Period. I mean, it just does not make any sense. You're going to allow these people in here. You're going to give them American flags. You're going to give them, I mean, ain't no telling what else is going on in that package that they're getting once they landed here, once they get to, the various states that they're going to be shipped off to. Man, they probably going to be doing better than a lot of Americans with the package they end up with. You know what I'm saying? But
Mm-hmm.
again, you're going to leave all these other refugees, all of these folks hanging when you're not even what it is, I mean, a false genocide. You're going to say that it's genocide against white Afrikaners, Afrikaners, or whatever the hell you want to call them. Okay, no, this is just totally ridiculous. It's just he's showing exactly who he is. And like my grandmama, the people, all the old folks in the neighborhood when I was growing up, they tell us all the time, please pay attention. When somebody shows you who they are, believe them.
Believe them. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Believe them. So
And
go
and,
ahead, Carol.
and
Well,
go
go
ahead,
ahead,
Carol.
Pedro.
Well, just one quick insert of that. How can it be a genocide against them when they own 70 to almost 85% of the land? We did an article a few months back, remember?
Yes,
Yeah,
we did.
they just pissed off because now the land is being equally distributed. They're pissed off because bottom line, the now South African government is treating these people the same way that America treated those Sioux Indians I was talking about earlier in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is. But now I bet you in South Africa, the white folks are not being put out of the lottery. They're just
No.
mad that there is a lottery. They want to hold on to the land. This stuff is crazy. Go ahead, Carol.
I would just,
Mhm.
it's like, are you kidding me? I can't believe this. Here it is, something else to just take us away from him. You know, uh I just think about, January 6th and all of these things prior to that, to where people are just forgetting the fact that racism exists. And and this is just my opinion, he has just brought all of the people that you just thought didn't exist back out into the forefront, to where they're bolder now. They're doing more things now to just make themselves seen. They're doing everything but just wear the the KKK outfit. It's just awful that they get priority, and it's other people that deserve to be here as well. And it's really sad, because we have so many people, like you say, here that probably are not going to be as let's see, what's the word I'm looking for, profitable, or be able to live a better life like these individuals. I've never heard of Afrikaners, you
Mhm.
know uh
Mhm.
and I know you can speak well of that, Ed, because you are a white man. So you know that sometimes people do get treated different just based on the color of their skin. And he has
Absolutely.
really just showed his pure behind about trying to act like a certain race is superior when we all are just the same. We should be treated equal. If I
Yeah,
deserve to be here, I should be here, whether I'm white, black, brown, or polka dot.
yeah. But in his belief and the way he moves and in history and in his path, the way he's done things, you can tell he is prejudiced. He has racist tendencies. He doesn't
Hmm.
put down people that support him that are straight racist and bigoted ways. He does not. He done counter when he put ads about the New York Five in the newspaper, even though it came out that they were innocent. Even he wanted them to get the death penalty, even though they were innocent, and it came out to light that they were innocent,
Right.
you know, and even when he had to
You
go to
talking about that
court.
Central Park 7?
Yeah, there you go. Thank you for correcting me. And even when he had to go to court, he always lies that he went to court because it was him and other rental owners of property, rental owner properties, but it was him and being prejudiced against black people and living in his facilities. He likes
Mm.
to always lie and say, "Well, it was me and other homeowners," and no, it was just him in that lawsuit. So
Wow.
it shows. It shows with that silver spoon in his mouth and the way he talks and believing his genes are winner genes and
I'm sorry, Pedro.
He has a
Silver,
gold spoon.
yeah, that part right there. The
Hmm.
silver spoon wasn't good enough for him. His had to be gold. That's why he's got a
Yeah.
gold toilet now. You know what I'm saying? He's
Hmm.
got to use,
yeah.
A gold toilet. Mm.
you
And then
know.
telling the little girl, you can't have a couple of dogs. You can't have 30. I haven't seen a girl with 30. And if she does, hey, shout out to her. She's
Right?
living the life, you know? But even if we have a little girl with 7 dogs or 10 dogs or even 4 dogs, what he's saying, you need to go without. You need to have one or two, and that's it. And
Well,
they're gonna
hold
be
on, Pedro.
expensive.
Hold on. You gonna tell me that his daughters did not have more than $30 when they were growing up?
Yeah, that's the point I was gonna get to.
Right.
The man saying, "Hey, little girl, that dog's gonna be expensive. You only need one or two. But check
Hmm.
out my gold toilet. Check out my gold outline right here. Check out my suit. Check out this. Check out my new palace in the air."
Well, like his
Right.
gold toilet, he is full of what? Crap.
Ooh, you
Wait a
said
minute,
it.
hold on. I heard that airplane's got a gold toilet in it too. Got gold toilets, got gold
Wow,
walls. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
wow. The
Mm.
Hold on. How about
deflection.
this one? We talking about he's saying it's okay for him to number one accept this gift and use it as Air Force One, right? Until proper transportation can be, arranged for him, right?
Right.
So now we talking about our president, the leader of our country, flying around in an airplane that's supposed to be the Oval Office in the sky, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Uh-oh.
That was built by
Mm.
a terrorist sponsor state.
Hey, that thing must be bugged up to the west side.
What does that
Bugged
say
up.
about us?
You know
Right.
what I'm saying? I mean, can you imagine how many security, they could have all kind of stuff going on in that airplane that
Yeah.
you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Not only that, it's gonna cost well over $200-300 million to equip that plane just to make it so it's sufficient for the president.
That's awful.
I believe he should pay for it on his own fucking
On his own.
I almost
Yeah.
cussed on his own time. He's over here cutting these programs, kicking out veterans from their job that is supplying their livelihood. That includes their wives and children. These veterans have families. These probationary employees, that some of our friends, even some of our family members, just to put them out like that. But he wants to spend millions of dollars on this plane, and then when this plane goes back over there, this Air Force One has to come back or build a new transportation.
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling.
Well,
It's
I want to
mind-boggling.
point out something else when we talking about the folks that was on probation that got fired, right? Got laid off, whatever you want to call it. Understand, when you work for the government, many of those folks have worked for the government for decades. But because they changed to a new position within the government, they are
start all over.
they are again classified as probation, and they have to go through that for up to 2 years. You understand what I'm saying? So now we're talking about somebody might have 20 years in with the government, but because they just got a new position, now they in probation status, and you're going to let them go.
Crazy.
This stuff is crazy, y'all. It's really crazy. So anyway, final thoughts before we get out of here, because we are beyond our time at this point.
Yes, well, my final thought before I let it go to you guys is this government is not about this administration. Let me get that correct. This administration was not about saving, finding fraud, or abuse. It is about cutting, and giving tax cut to the wealthy, and spending our tax, our money we pay into our government on a rich person that has his own money. But go ahead, guys. Go ahead with your final.
Go ahead, Carol.
The only thing I'm gonna say is I'm really interested to see how much we will have once he leaves office. How broke will we be?
Well, we're going to be in bad shape. I know that. So anyway, I've already spoke my mind. I'm going to probably get in trouble for it later, but it is what it is. I mean, somebody's got to speak out against this man. We all need to be speaking out against this man. We need to be standing on every corner, on every block, in every city, in every town, in every state in America. And we need to be shouting this stuff from the rooftops so that more and more people will quit and pull their head up out of the ground like they're a bunch of damn ostriches and pay attention to what's going on right in front of them in plain daylight. This is a man that truly believes that if he commits the act in public, then it's not a crime. I don't know why he thinks that, but I don't know. I mean, maybe he was sleep deprived like he was the other day, yesterday, when he was having a meeting with the rest of his,
his
folks,
homies.
his homies. He couldn't even stay awake for the interview. So, but anyway, come out, join us tonight. Yeah, come on out and join us tonight. Like I said, we got the crafting group at 5, and then we got the Meta AI group at 6. As always, please like, subscribe, follow, subscribe, comment, share, whatever you can do, wherever you at. Please do it. It doesn't cost you a dime, and it helps us out so much. So anyway, hey, think about it today. It is hump day. After that article, you have to scratch your head and figure out who's really getting humped. We'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Have a blessed day, and we'll see you on the next one.